Poinsettia, Chapter 29. Laura turned the bottle over. It was obvious that it was empty, but perhaps one more shake would magically produce one more little drop that they had missed. She sighed in defeat. No, there was no more whiskey to be found in that bottle. She glanced over at the nun in the chair beside her. She had fallen asleep and was now muttering and twitching between her drunken snores. The widow let out another sigh. It had been a lot of work to calm her down. Spiked tea definitely seemed to do the trick, but the good sister would probably wake up the following morning with a hangover for Christmas. Laura perked immediately when she heard the front door open. She eagerly got to her feet and rushed from the den into the great room to intercept the master of the house. "Are you home?" "We found her," Gavin called. He wouldn't even let Laura reach them before trying to herd her back into the den with Angus and Danny following behind him. He entered the den and felt the pot to determine if it was full and hot. Another pot would probably have to be made. He then did a double take at the sleeping nun in a heap in the chair. "Laura, what did you do to her?" "Forgive me, Gavin," she whined. "I thought perhaps a little whiskey in her tea would calm her down. As you can probably deduce from the empty pot, she had several cups. Now," she held up the empty bottle to inspect, "I'd say she's about as relaxed as they come." "Short of being dead," Gavin remarked. His tone seemed flat, but he truly was amused. The surprise is what held his humorous thoughts back. Finally, everything seemed to catch up, and he couldn't help but laugh a little. "Oh, well. Forget another pot of tea. You may need to make some coffee. We will need to take her home." "Is Danny all right?" Laura asked. "She's strangely a lot better than I am," he remarked. "I'm great," Danny cheered. "Mr. Gavin and Mr. Angus took really good care of me." She took one look at Sister Bernadette and found it hard to contain her giggles. "It looks like you really took care of Sister Bernadette." Laura scuttled off to make some coffee. Gavin came closer to the nun and gave her a gentle shake. "Sister? Sister?" She grumbled and then sank a little further into the chair. "Sure," Gavin chuckled. "We'll do that." He tried a few more times to wake her, and eventually she showed a more promising stir. She gasped, flying to her feet and nearly knocking Gavin over. Being a little tipsy, she also began to sway and nearly toppled. Thankfully, Gavin and Angus managed to hold her up. "Oh, Lord McIntyre! Mr. McDoodle! Danny!" "Danny is here. Look, she's right there," he urged. He helped her back into the chair as she groaned. "Sister, we're going to try and sober you up. Then we're going to take you home." "Home?" she asked. Oh, yes. That would be good." "Yes, but I'm going to keep Danny here with me overnight. Do you understand? I'm going to give her a cozy place to sleep. I don't want her outside any more. She's been out there an awfully long time. I'm going to take care of her, and then I'm going to bring her back tomorrow evening. Do you understand?" "Oh, I don't know," she frowned. "Danny is a patient. Sister, try and stay with me." He snapped his fingers a few times in front of her face to keep her attention. "I think we both know very well that she doesn't have that much time left with us in this world. We have no idea if this will be her last Christmas. I would like to make it special for her. Besides, it would be rather irresponsible of me to send the child home with a gassed nun." She merely nodded and muttered a little. Despite the sound of incoherency, she understood fully what Gavin had told her. He sighed and glanced over towards Angus, who had long since become his regular self and retrieved the clothes he had discarded. The boy, who was Wolf, simply shrugged. "Will she be all right?" Danny asked. "She'll probably have a headache tomorrow morning," Gavin chuckled. "Otherwise, she should be fine. Angus, could you take Danny upstairs and get her ready for a nice hot bath? I'm sure that would be really nice." "What about Bumblebee?" she asked. "Well, how about we hang him over the fireplace?" he suggested. "He'll be able to dry there in no time." Danny nodded and held out Bumblebee for Gavin to take. "He'd really like that. Do you hear that, Bumblebee? Mr. Gavin is going to make you warm and dry. So you'll be good for him." Once the exchange of the bear had been made, Danny skipped over to Angus and took his hand. "Come on, Mr. Angus, let's draw my bath." "Aye, lassie," he agreed, and began to walk off with her towards the stairs of the great room to the upper levels. "You will love our Christmas, Danny. We have a very big banquet, and we can never finish. More food than you could ever eat." "Oh, yum!" she replied and rubbed her belly. "I can't wait."